We are doing hybrid space, so welcome all who are joining us online. HAAB and COAC members who are in person, please feel free to grab yourself some refreshment. If you will be patient with us, we will get started momentarily. Thank you. And Felicia.
Well, moving on. So right now,
I did anticipate, right?
I believe that there's unbelievable. Yeah.
If they don't have it, I think they have to. They're just like, you know, he's working executive master, but he's such a it's like I'll just make it text to you. Somebody text you. Hi, my name is Carl. I'm with ACMS Northwest. Modi and Lori. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
retirement.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not process.
It is not. So yeah. Very cool.
Oh, man. Meeting.
Thanks so much for your patience. If you're joining us tonight, Wednesday, February 11th, we are here for the I-5 Rose Quarter Project, Historic Albina Advisory Board, and the Community Oversight Advisory Committee meeting. I see several members of our committees parking. So if you'll just be patient, just a couple more moments, we'll get started.
We are. I saw you doing enough on this.
I wanted to be around.
Very cool. These days.
That's a lot of people sick too.
Yeah, but I have to do with them big. You know,
Are we talking about the sickness?
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, my wife's been with bed for the past 2 years.
yeah, there's nothing really.
Completely knocked her out. Yeah, it's pretty bad. The other one, this guy's pretty got out. Yeah.
For a year.
My daughter was out of school 2 weeks back.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's a lot for Yeah.
Good afternoon.
That's the one.
Listen, the sun came out, he got it too. Okay.
You got some of that? Good to see you. I'm glad to see you back in bed. You've been infamous on that boat. Not yet.
So we're going to go ahead and get started. We are sending our thoughts to all of those who are ill. We have a number of staff and committee members who are joining us online as cold and flu season is heavy upon us. So we appreciate you doing your best to keep all of us in the room healthy. But thank you for joining us in the space. Those who are joining us online, thank you. We're going to move to the next slide, please. And the next slide. Oh, look at those lovely faces. This is our Community Oversight Advisory Committee. Next slide. Mr. McFerrin, we need a good photo of you. And to the next slide, please. All right, I'll just give a brief overview of our agenda today. We'll have an opportunity for public comment, as we always do. And then we will receive project updates. We're excited to share some news with you all. Then we'll have our colleagues from the HHJV sharing some construction updates and really exciting news in regards to workforce. We have our colleagues from the City of Portland also joining us to share about the Reconnecting Albina Planning Project. And then we will adjourn our meeting. Next slide. You all are familiar with these, but I'll give us a reminder since we are in person. Your voice matters. I appreciate our collective agreement to share authentically, be genuine, to listen for understanding. This is a passion project. Many of us have been serving together for a number of years, and we ask you to deal with issues and not people. In this space, over the years, we have experienced a lot of discomfort. Today may not be the same, but we ask you to remain respectfully engaged. We have been working so long together in regards to this transformational project, but we cannot do everything in this one meeting. So we ask you to expect and accept non-closure, but that we are always moving one step forward to completion. We're so excited to have this beautiful brown baby in the space with us tonight. Thanks, JT. Next slide. Indeed. At this time, for those who are joining us online or in the personal space, we're going to give an opportunity for public comment. We appreciate those who are concerned and who have things to share in regards to I-5 Rose Quarter. And so this is your opportunity to share with committee members your thoughts regarding the project. So I am going to ask my colleague Natalie to help here. If there's anyone online, I'm not sure I can see everyone, but we're going to use this mic here at the podium if there are public commenters who have joined us in the in-person space.
Thanks, Ms. Erica. We do not have anyone online wishing to make a public comment at this time. And I don't believe, I'll just check with D'Angelo back there. I don't believe we had any in person either. And I'm hearing no. So no public commenters at this time. Erica.
Please continue to avail yourself to all of the ways that you can provide comments. And we make sure that both HAAB and COAC are in receipt and have an opportunity to read and discuss the comments that come via email. So please continue to avail yourself to all of those methods. Next slide. We are excited to have with us tonight our interim project director, Ms. Monica Blanchard, and she is going to share some project updates with us.
Thanks, Erica. Yeah, so if we want to go to the next slide, I just wanted to give a couple updates specifically around the work we've been doing with our project partners to continue to advance the project. So next slide. So in December, the Oregon Transportation Commission gave us the conditional direction to move forward with the available phase 1B funding. So that's the next phase of construction. While also requiring more transparent partner engagement and clarity on parity across phase 1B and then phase 1C. So the following package of work. This also included the requirement to return to the Oregon Transportation Commission at their March meeting for final direction on how to move forward with the next phase of construction. So in response to the OTC's direction, we stood up the project management group, or what we call the PMG, with diverse representation from project partners, including Bryson and Felicia as liaisons from the HAAB and COAC. And we had two successful, very collaborative meetings in January where PMG partners aligned on a phase 1B scope that could be delivered within the existing funding that allows the project to maintain our delivery schedule and ensure continuous construction after the current construction package phase 1A that's in construction is complete at the end of the year. This will ensure continuous construction into 2027. So what's up here on the screen, the scope includes widening the bridge structure over the Rose Quarter Transit Center, some seismic upgrades and resurfacing of that bridge deck, improved shoulder widths on I-5, and new signage and variable message signs on either end of the future highway cover. So I'm going to go ahead one slide and also wanted to highlight, it also includes reconstruction of the impacted transit center infrastructure. So under the Rose Quarter Transit Center, you can imagine down by the MOTA Center where TriMet's station is underneath I-5. This includes local street work such as sidewalks, lighting, and the curb ramp improvements. And then I wanted to highlight the new architectural features on the walls and the bridge structure, as well as some restored light rail infrastructure there. These architectural features are the first of many to go in that are influenced by the work that HAAB and COAC members did with our urban design folks over the last couple years. So you can see that Rose Quarter Transit Center over the top and the medallions, and then on the walls as well. So we're starting to see that get into construction with phase 1B. So then go back a slide, Natalie. Yeah, so then kind of a little bit more on the process. Between our two PMG meetings, the PMG partners were asked to brainstorm additional revisions to the proposed phase 1B scope. And we collaborated with city and metro staff, and they provided a few different ideas. As a result of that, PMG partners agreed to the ad that's in the middle of the left side of the screen there. So the ad to explore early right-of-way acquisition in the highway cover area using the $30 million in Reconnecting Communities grant funding that is available for that purpose. So continuing to progress the work in the central part of the highway cover using that right-of-way acquisition money. The PMG agreed that this approach achieves parity as requested by the city and metro and AVT in their letter to the OTC. Key to this partner alignment, though, is the understanding that parity means an agreement on phase 1B scope and the PMG process that we went through to get to alignment on phase 1B scope, as well as continuing to work together on the phase 1C scope and funding strategy in the coming months. So this alignment is what we plan on bringing forward to the OTC in March when we go back to ask for their official direction to move forward. So that's what we have been doing. Now looking ahead to what is next and what the PMG's focus is. And that's really on working together to define a Phase 1C scope in a way that's fundable and represents parity amongst all the partners. So this work is really key now for us to stay on schedule for design delivery and be ready for future funding opportunities as they arise. Phase 1C currently does not have any construction funding. So the goal of this work is to use our collective knowledge and expertise to develop a scope that not only meets the purpose, need, and goals of the project, but also aligns with a funding and engagement strategy that sets us up for success to fund construction. In the current legislative session that's happening right now, ODOT's really focused on supporting the legislature in a way that closes the large maintenance and operations gap that's essential to keeping ODOT functional. The agency in this short session is not focused, as you are aware, on project funding, but the governor has asked the legislature to look at all possible sources to close that maintenance and operations gap, including House Bill 2017 funds, which House Bill 2017 does include Rose Quarter funding. So if the legislature does reallocate funding away from Rose Quarter, the project would not only not have funds for Phase 1C, but would not have funds for Phase 1B either. And we would only have funding for the current construction of Phase 1A that is scheduled to be complete at the end of the year. It's not ideal, but through the uncertainty, our goal really is to focus on how we can work collectively together to continue to progress the work. And our project funding and financing staff is exploring all possible funding options, particularly focusing in on the next legislative session in 2027, as well as federal funding opportunities. So with that, that's my update on PMG. There's several folks in the room that participated in PMG, so I think I'll turn it over to JT first to give some thoughts on his engagement, and then we've got.
Thank you so much for the project update. What would be most helpful for me, just general kind of context update on how everything's moving from our vantage point? Yeah, so we've seen a whole lot of really positive movement, I think much of which has been catalyzed by this new project management group working structure. So thank you so much to the project team for your leadership and pulling that space together. It's really given us an opportunity to coordinate between all of our public partners, all of our different, not only community stakeholders, right, between ABT, contractors, HAAB, but also, and COAC, of course, but also other project stakeholders like the truckers, like the contractors and other folks who are critical pieces of this work. I can say, you know, we've all had our ups and downs with this project from many a vantage point at many a time. It's felt like this thing has lived and died many deaths.
It's like a cat.
It really is like an old cat, but I can say with full confidence, this is the most excited and positive I've felt about the alignment that we have in the room. And I think that's because we have been able to get on the same page. This conversation around scope alignment and parity has been a critical one. And I think what we were able to do is get to a point where we said, okay, if some of these elements on the main line have to go first, is there a way for us to achieve what we're calling strategic parity, right? So where we position the project in such a manner that it is very clearly signaling that we are committed to the delivery of a full project. One of the elements that Monica talked about here, you see on the slide, is that that $30 million in Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhood Funding, which we were able to successfully obligate from the Trump administration, which can be used for early right-of-way acquisition further north, right? That's work that's supposed to come later down the project pipeline, but I think that's a really important win from this strategic coordination between all the partners. Another thing for us to be aware of and tracking is the fact that our senators were able to successfully attach a rider to the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2026 that just passed Congress this past week in Washington, D.C., and was signed into law. And what that did is it actually created a new bucket of money, about $30 million in reconnecting communities and neighborhoods grant funding. I know that sounds a little wild to the folks in this room who've been through the past year and a half here. But what that will enable us to do is participate in another competitive federal process to try to bring additional resources, though smaller in nature, to the continued forward motion of the project. And I think with all the alignment we have, we feel confident that we can show up strongly in Salem throughout the short session to ensure that legislators understand the importance of keeping the funding that we do have in this project, right? Rather than reallocating it elsewhere. And another thing it's really important for us to note there is those HB 2017 funds are funds that we're going to be bonded against, right? So when we say we got what $160 million in the bank for this project, it's not all liquid cash, right? They could only meaningfully rescind up to about $14 million a year to help close that gap on the operations and maintenance side for ODOT, which is not consequential enough to justify pulling money off the table that could be bonded against to create, again, $162 million worth of impact and construction on this project. So feeling good on this end. I'm not sure if other folks wanted to speak, but yeah, I don't think I've ever felt more positive, which is a very nice tone to be able to strike in a meeting like this.
Yeah, I've got to share JT's optimism on this too. I think, you know, we have a lot to have been concerned about over the past year, where we've had funding come in and then funding go right back out. And then also, I think, you know, our kind of collective group was tested a little bit with the recent design. But I think once everybody got in the room, saw what the plans were, saw what the evaluation was for each of the steps, I think everybody got back on the same page, and it definitely feels like all the partners and groups in this are still moving in the right direction, in the same direction. So I was glad to see the work that had been done. I'm glad that we're still aligned and still moving forward on this, and I think we're in as good a spot as we can be given the situation at the federal level.
Thank you. Thanks for the comments, everyone. I'm Caitlin Reff with City of Portland PBOT. Nice to see you all again. I think, thanks Monica for the update, and kind of want to echo what JT and Bryson have shared. Taking a step back a little bit, I think you all are aware that from the OTC hearing in December, we had agency partner and elected officials submit a letter of support for the project, but made a few requests in terms of how that happens and how we collectively move forward. And I think that we have been really encouraged by ODOT's responsiveness and the discussion that happened at the OTC hearing. Certainly want to acknowledge and appreciate AVT's presence and discussion in that hearing as well. So really the intent there that I think we're starting to see get into practice is ensuring we have a pathway and a governance structure that supports the collaboration and transparency in how we make decisions. And we know that ODOT needs to make decisions and some hard decisions on phasing and scopes, how we can respond to funding opportunities and challenges, and how we can continue to do that in the spirit of partnership. And really honor the work that has been done over the last many years, and with the input of so many on this committee. So really looking to maintain that as we sort through those challenges. We have PBOT, Bureau of Transportation, Bureau of Planning and Sustainability, and Prosper Portland representatives participating in the project management group. Monica, David, and the project team just provided an update to Mayor Wilson earlier this week. So again, I think we're encouraged by the process, the dialogue, the structure. We also recognize there's a lot of work yet to do. So we're looking forward to that work, continuing to do that as partners and figure out the 1C scope and kind of funding going forward. Thank you.
Ted, I saw that your hand was raised. We'd love to have our colleagues from Metro chime in.
Great, thank you. And thank you for inviting Metro to the meeting tonight. We appreciate being here and sort of a newer member of the organizations that are involved with some of the more details of the project. And Jean Seneschal-Biggs is in the room with you tonight, my colleague. And I think we were particularly brought into the most recent discussions, just to give a little bit of background on Metro's participation here. With the federal funding that's attached to this project, last summer it went through our transportation planning and programming process, where we have to program those funds in a document called the Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program. And when we did that, it was for the full phase 1 project. When this was before the much of the grant funding was rescinded. And so when we approved that, if we did promise to our elected officials that if the federal funding was reduced, significantly reduced or went away, that the project would come back for readoption into that document by our elected officials. And so once ODOT was and the project was ready to move forward with a modified version of with the reduced funding, we wanted to make sure that that was going to move forward in a way that respected the original intent of the full phase 1 project and was a way to ensure that the spirit of that full project was honored in terms of the next phase that is moving forward. And so that's how we got involved in this most recent process. So I think we've now gone through the recommendation of the PMG group that was all the folks around this in this meeting were participated in. So we were glad to be a participant in that process, and look forward to continuing to work to progress the project forward.
Thanks, Ted. We appreciate your participation.
Okay, before we move away from the PMG updates and the upcoming Oregon Transportation Commission meeting, I just want to note that Natalie sent out an email this afternoon with some links if anybody is interested in signing up for both written or verbal testimony at the upcoming Transportation Commission meeting. Please take a look at that email. Always reach out to Erica or me if you have questions. It is a requirement to sign up ahead of time if you do plan to be in person. So we want to make sure that's taken care of if that's something that you would like to do. Next slide, Natalie. So one other thing that I wanted to highlight in my update before I turn it over to the construction folks is another update that we have is to complement our PMG's guidance. I also wanted to highlight that the Rose Quarter project was selected as one of 3 projects nationally for the America Forward Technical Assistance Program. So America Forward provides value to the project through their nationally recognized expertise and is led by former U.S. DOT Undersecretary Christopher Coase, former Washington State Secretary of Transportation Roger Millar, and former U.S. DOT Advisor Julianne Reinbeck. And they bring a large network of other senior folks and advisors in the space throughout the country. So they'll be working with our team over the next year to strengthen our project delivery approach and really enhance our competitiveness for future funding. We're in the initial stages of getting their scope of work finalized and getting them onboarded onto the project, and look forward to everything that they have to offer in our upcoming work. So with that, I will turn it back to Erica.
Thanks, Monica. Well, I know for HAAB and COAC members, that was likely a lot of information. So I want to take a moment and open the floor if there's any questions or comments related to the project updates that you all just heard.
Who got a comment?
Yes.
I just wanted to say thank you for your comments, Ted, and thank you to Metro for the leadership that you've been exerting through this process as well. You know, our public partners at every level are critical, but this notion of parity, I think, produced a really, oh, I got you. Don't even worry about it. Yeah. Let's see.
That's all right.
There we go. Yeah, we on dad duty. This notion of parity has introduced a really, really important conversation to this space that I think is a conversation this community has been trying to have for the entirety of our participation in the project, which is how do we make sure that everything moves forward and that we're equally committed to every element of the project. So thanks for the role that you folks have played and for the entire project management team for their willingness to lean into that with an open mind and get to a solution, which I mean feels really, really good given the history and trajectory of this project. So again, I'm feeling super, super good, even though I just dropped a binky.
Are there any other comments or questions from our, yes. So I'll go with Mr. McFerrin and then Mr. Washington.
So my question is, can someone give me just the cliff notes on what changed? I hear since our last meeting, I felt pretty good going into the project the last meeting, but now I get this sense that and we have Metro at the table now. I mean, so what changed over the last 90 days that has many of us so optimistic?
What changed is that I think we finally have everybody in the same boat rowing in the same direction and in the most material of ways, right? We've been having separate conversations with Metro, with City of Portland, with ODOT, with different stakeholder groups on the project, with the HAAB, with ABT, with the truckers. Now we're having all of those conversations in the same space at the same time and with the same stated set of goals, which is to deliver a full project. And it feels like people are actually willing to put some real skin in the game in order to get that done. So for the first time, it feels like we have full alignment across all these different stakeholders that throughout different iterations and phases of this work have sometimes been at odds with one another. Yeah.
Yeah, good question, Joe. Mine is kind of similar. When we first started out, reconnecting neighborhoods was about $800,000. How did it get to 30 million?
Yeah, I think, Mr. Washington, you're referring to a Reconnecting Communities planning grant that we secured for the Reconnecting Albina Planning Project back in 2023. So that was the first iteration of the program. And then in 2024, US DOT actually expanded the program significantly. And it's that second round of funding that produced the $488.5 million award that we secured as a community for I-5 Rose Quarter and Broadway Main Street. So as you well know, back in June of 2025, the Trump administration passes the big, beautiful bill. It gets signed into law. It rescinded all unobligated funds from the Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods grant program, effectively ending the grant program. So every dollar that they hadn't already signed over and transferred to one of their awardees was taken and redirected towards other stated needs of our government. Right. In this state, we were like, okay, that means these dollars are never coming back. But one of the things we were saying in spaces like these is that the pendulum always tends to swing back at the federal level and that we thought we might have another crack at something like this. The reason that this rider is significant is because it reopens a smaller bucket of funding. It's not $2 billion, right? It's 30 million. But for Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods awardees like ourselves, to continue moving that work forward. So I think it's a positive signal at the federal level that there might still be an opportunity for us to reconstitute some of what was lost over time.
So are those dollars to be used the same way the 800,000 was to be used? Say that again, JT.
Different grants for different.
Different grants, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I got this covered, but
Yeah, so for the Rose Quarter project, we had $450 million that was originally awarded. And then, like JT said, with the One Big Beautiful Bill, they rescinded all unobligated funds. And so what that means is we had already signed up or approved, obligated our $30 million in design, $30 million in right-of-way, and $7.5 million in utility relocation. So we got to keep that $67.5 million because we had signed the agreements and obligated it. What we hadn't obligated is the construction dollars. There's a lot of requirements on, you need to start using them and start spending them at a certain time. And so we were waiting for that timeline. We had not obligated them. And so when the One Big Beautiful Bill took the money back, it took back all of that. So I think my math is correct, roughly $380 million in construction funding is what was rescinded.
Yeah. Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all wrote the bill.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
So, excuse me. I'm sort of like, am I in the same room? All this optimism, all these, what am I doing up in here? I mean, but guys, I've been around for a long time, and as JT said, we've been up and down and sideways, and what concerns me is that we've had quite a bit of transition in leadership. I'm talking about the head, the DOT, the ODOT leadership. Chris was here, I think, the last time around, and that didn't feel too good to me when he had to resign. And I've seen this movie before where we thought we were doing well, and we pulled the rug from under us. And JT is talking about the alignment. I'm glad Metro is here. I'm glad the city's showing up. I'm glad us people in the community got our stuff together while we ain't squabbling over stuff. So that's exciting. But I'm concerned. I'm concerned because, there's people that don't love us. Quite candidly, they don't love us. They don't love this project. We still got the environmentalists out here stabbing us and so forth. So what would make me feel good is that the ODOT director shows up in this room, and maybe even the governor. Let me say that again. I don't feel like we got the level of support from at the top that we should have. Why ain't the governor up in this room, at least Zooming with us, talking to us about being an advocate for this thing? Because as far as I'm concerned, we're facing headwinds with these crazy people at National. Ain't no telling. I just do not feel comfortable. And this body here, we've been doing this, 7 or 8 years now? We've been doing this 7 or 8 years. We kind of seen this movie before. Somebody give me some assurances. We got Dr. Kim here, David here. He's not the governor. He's not the head of transportation. He shows up. Where is the interim director of transportation on this? Can you get into her head?
So I know that our interim director wanted to be here today, but we have an active short session right now. And they're having meetings during the day, during the evenings, talking about agency budget and a number of critical bills. And so if we didn't have short session, she'd be here. But because of short session, she's being called to numerous hearings and reviewing a bunch of bills and sharing the challenges that's facing the state of Oregon and the DOT. That's the priority for the agency right now. Once we get to the other side, I would expect that we'll have the director here as well as others, because this is a critical project, not just at the local level, but at the regional level and state level as well. And I haven't been on this project for a long time, but I recognize the complexities and the challenges that this project has faced. One of the major themes of this project has been about equity, and I appreciate that we were able to form this PMG because transparency is really important. accountability is really important and equity is really important. And by having all our partners at the table and the community at the table, we're revisiting that theme and reinforcing equity as a critical value to this project. And I would say that the process is just as important as the outcome. And we've made a lot of headway because we have construction underway now. And the vision for the PMG and for ODOT is to keep construction moving. We have a CMGC contractor. They got workers out there. They got subcontractors out there. And we want to continue to build that infrastructure to achieve that long-term vision of a Rose Quarter project.
So David, that's very positive stuff. Appreciate you giving us a good tone. I'm worried about this $15 million that they're trying to fill this gap. You know, typically when you got choices to make, us people of color, we're the sacrificial lamb. We're the sacrificial lamb. And listen, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but all these workers that work for ODOT, they want that $15 million. They don't care where it comes from. I'm going to say that again. They don't care where it comes from. They're lobbying. We got a short session. I was just up to Salem today. JT and them was up there. But people are jockeying to try to make sure they're not cut. And let's include the other minority programs. Do we have somebody up there trying to advocate for this project that's been 8 years in the making? Is the governor still on our side? I mean, it sounds as if she is. It sounds as if she is, but it would make me feel good is if Mr. Beeler was up in this room, somebody who is seeing eyeballs to eyeballs with the governor. You all know what I'm saying, don't you? This $15 million gap, and JT, you can speak to that. Are you feeling good about the $15 million gap and how that's going to play out?
You talk about ODOT's budget gap?
Yeah, I'm talking about their budget gap.
Oh, it's good. I get steps in this.
Yeah, you know, I am. And to your point, Mr. Posey, we've been down in Salem on our end on the AVT front. I know that other members of the project management group have been down there, from the contractors to Jenna Jarvis and the Oregon Trucking Association. I know Metro's down there. I know City of Portland is down there. And of course, ODOT is down there on a number of fronts. So from the conversations that we've had, both with our partners and with legislators, I think we got reason to feel optimistic, cautiously optimistic, right? You know, which is, of course, has to be the nature of any defined forward motion on this project, given how chaotic it's been in the past. But I do think there's good reason for us to feel good about the forward momentum we have right now. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
And that's just not me just saying that. You know, like when things have not gone right, I've been saying this is not going right. So I'm not just saying that to say it. Yeah.
Any comments online or questions? Any other thoughts around the table? Thank you, Mr. Posey, for bringing that forward. Okay, yes, David, and then I do see a hand from Joy Elise.
So as a state agency, we're prohibited from lobbying. But we have the COAC here, we have the HAAB here, we have other partners here. And you are the voices of this project. And you can advocate and tell your story. And I think a powerful message is there is alignment through the PMG. And there is momentum. And we want to maintain that momentum. But again, ODOT as an agency and the PMG will provide the information so that you can empower yourself to have that information and continue to advocate for the project.
Let's say, so you guys are prohibited against lobbying. That must have just started because we've got about 25, 30 years of somebody lobbying against us at ODOT. So that, I'm glad you in place, because we got we got a history of somebody lobbying against us, because we've been getting zeros on these projects. In fact, many Black people don't even want to work with ODOT for that reason. I don't know if y'all know the history. You don't know y'all know the history of the state. That's why I'm not as comfortable as everybody seems to be around this table. I've seen this movie before. 40 or 50 years of us saying one thing and doing something else. At the end of the day, we could be the sacrificial lamb. And we could all be up here grinning at the chess cat, if you know what I mean. So thank you, David, for your optimism. JT is here, but I'm worried. Y'all figure out a way to get me unworried.
Thank you. Joy, I see your hand.
Thank you so much for the comments and the presentation. I just want to note that this is a very difficult and challenging budget year at the legislative session. Our org has been lobbying for many years, and I do understand that this project is very, very important, but I do hope that we are mindful that just like we have to do a lot of trade-offs in this project, that elected officials are also going through a lot of trade-offs. Our folks, in terms of Black people, are dealing with food insecurity, not having access to childcare, housing. There's all these things on the table. So I just wanted to throw that out there as a opportunity to have some grace for folks who are making some tough decisions and echo the need for us to do more lobbying individually, whether you want to lobby for this project or another project or whatever. It just requires you to be in deep relationship with elected officials and recognize that it's a really tough job and that there are many things that are impacting the Black community that are on the chopping block this year. And it's going to be really difficult to figure out which ones we save and which ones we can't afford to keep.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate that, Joy. Before we move on, are there others? Just want to make sure anyone else online have a question or comment. Seeing none, well, I appreciate Monica. Oh, is there another?
Yeah, I have one thing. I'm glad we are moving forward and the project has started. So that right there is a good thing, good sign. So I want to thank you for that. My name's Carlton.
Thank you.
Who is he?
Mr. Kim did acknowledge him, so we appreciate
Okay.
yes. All right. Thank you. Well, we will move forward in our agenda. I appreciate all of the input from our partners and colleagues. We have had, I think we didn't mention, Rip City has been around the table as well, and Jana Jarvis with Oregon Trucking. And so this is a really exciting time in regards to collaboration and the potential for really a transformational project. So I would take heed to those things that you heard about making sure as constituents of the state that you are voicing what is important to you, to those lawmakers as we move forward. And I think this America Forward opportunity is critical. I had an opportunity to meet with several of the other projects in Washington, D.C. around reconnecting communities, and there is a lot of forward movement. So there is a great opportunity considering we are one of 3 projects that was chosen for this project accelerator. So be encouraged and do your work. Indeed. We're going to move forward in our agenda at this time. I believe Brianna is going to come up and share some updates in regarding construction that is moving forward in phase 1A.
Hi, okay, I'm back again. Next slide. Not to completely switch gears on what we're actually building. So work is progressing on our bioretention pond. So this scope of work is being performed by our mini CMGC Just Bucket. So the bioretention pond, what it is it's supposed to capture runoff coming from I-5 and I-405, and it will help treat that runoff with plants and various water quality materials so that it filters out pollutants before going back into the system. So Just Bucket is progressing on that pond. You might have seen the big hole in the ground as you drive past, along with installing the storm piping and manholes that will ultimately connect it back to ODOT's system. Along with that, as they're finishing up the bioretention pond, they'll end up moving down on to Mississippi to install the water quality vaults. So same concept, it will take runoff from the existing system, help to filter it and then put it back in the system down the line. So what you can expect to see once this pond is fully constructed is during the wet months, it will have some water, but during the dry months, you might even just see like a grassy area next to I-5. So next slide. The next scope of work we're really progressing on is the seismic retrofit. So as suspected, once we started, nothing was as we expected it to be when working on retrofitting. So kudos to Raymore and their subcontractors or sub tiers under them. They've been working really hard as building every single area that they'll be drilling into and working on. And we've started core drilling, cross beams underway. So they've been progressing on that really well. And then finally, the next big thing is, and that's been really exciting, is we've started work on I-5. So the past month, you might have seen that we've started doing night shift if you've been driving in the area. So you may have seen either the fast lane on southbound or the fast lane on northbound, or both at times closed. And this is so we could get the temporary striping placed. And at the same time, we have our subcontractor Gauge It putting in their temporary barriers. Exciting news, they've finally gotten to a point where we've gotten enough pinned so we can get our next subcontractor Story to start removing the existing barrier that's on I-5. I guess I'll take this moment just to remind people to, when you're driving in the area, just be cognizant. As you can see, there are just people working there behind barrels with traffic going right next to them. So just be cautious of those working zones. Next slide. So upcoming activities. We have our truss sign bridge. So you can tell this is not a picture of our project, but an example of what's to come. So our HSJV team is working on preparing an access road so that our drill shaft subcontractor Pacific Foundation, they'll bring in their drill shaft rig, they'll drill the shafts, and then to follow, our mini CMGC Zagami will come and complete the foundation cap that goes on top of the drilled shafts. What you can expect during this time is intermittent road closures along Interstate Ave. You may have even seen some of that happening last month while we were doing some tree removals. And then as well as intermittent road closures of the Holiday exit ramp off of 84. So that is to come. Next slide, please. So upcoming activities. So this is just to provide everyone with a broad overview of what's to come over this next year and upcoming months. So the I-5 southbound bridge work will progress. So like I was saying, we have our existing median barrier getting removed. That's really exciting because it really paves the way for opening up more work to us down the line. So once we get that existing median barrier removed, we'll do our median strengthening, which is really just our subcontractor coming, installing some additional rebar in the deck, and then we'll be filling in the hole where the existing median barrier is located. So we can push traffic over and open up the outside barrier replacement that's shown in the green there. So concurrently with that work, we're starting to plan our gore extension. So that's shown in the purple. So that area between I-5 southbound and where the I-84 exit ramp to eastbound, we're going to be installing some micro pile foundation, extending the cap, and filling in that gore area with some bridge widening. And all of that will pave the way to ultimately this major concrete overlay work highlighted in the yellow, which is really important for needed highway maintenance on I-5. So I know I explained a lot of work we'll be doing. As we work through planning, just know we're working to finalize dates on when you can expect closures to happen, and we'll present out more in the next meeting. Happy to take questions.
Questions in regards to construction updates? I know Isabella's going to be sharing just a little bit about communication and how we plan to message some of these closures. I think we're good. Thanks, Brianna. Oh, Mr. Posey.
Yeah. So I'm curious to know. I have not seen any workforce development plans or who's looking.
That's coming next.
Oh, it's coming next. Okay.
Yeah,
right on target.
yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Brianna. Isabel, thank you.
All right. Hi, everybody. For those of you I haven't met, my name is Isabel Kennedy. I'm part of our comms team, usually sitting in the back corner running tech, but I got to come up here and talk to you guys today. A little bit about the comms approach that we're using to share information about the closures that are happening. So we know with these local street closures and the I-5 lane closures that are going on overnight, that there are impacts associated with that. And so we are working on making sure that we let people know when that's coming. And we're also making sure that we're applying lessons learned from previous closures and work that ODOT has done to this communications approach. So we've really invested a lot of time in reaching out to interested parties, including businesses, facilities, and industries that are impacted by the work that's going on now, as well as that's coming up in the near future. We've been conducting briefings with elected officials and staff in the agency, as well as outside of it. And we're increasingly activating ODOT's distribution channels, including the social media account, email, text messages, website, our E's newsletter, and media releases when necessary. If you aren't signed up to receive our text messages and email alerts about construction, we'd love for you to do that so you can get those notices when they go out. You can do that on our website. And next slide, please. And so I mentioned we've been coordinating with partner agencies. So this is the list of folks that we've met with so far. And this is a running list. So we're adding more and more organizations as we go. But we've been coordinating with the city, city staff. We've been especially coordinating with TriMet, especially around the interstate Ave closures that are coming up. We know there's bus lines that run along that. So we've been coordinating with them, the Convention Center and Moda Center, around their events that are coming up, as well as Travel Portland, as well as emergency services and police and fire. So wanting to make sure that they're in the loop as well. I'm happy to answer any questions about the comms approach.
Pass this to Mr. Richard.
Now I'm starting to feel a little bit like James. We always overlooked. I looked at that list. You're right at the edge of our district, and in our district, we haven't been communicated from ODOT about any of the work that you're doing in our district. So we'd appreciate getting on that list. That's the sole district, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Washington. Other thoughts or questions regarding how we're communicating construction closures, et cetera?
So, the part of the, I think, the attraction for this particular project is it's in the African-American community. And when I asked you about workforce, I want to see some Black folks out there doing some work for real. And you guys need to communicate that so people will know this is a value proposition for our community. And our people are being lifted up as a result of this project. You make a mistake if you don't tell why we're doing this and how we're doing it. So I don't see anything on TikTok. When I'm on there 24/7, I don't see no TikTok. I need to have something to tell this story about how important this project, because make no mistake about it, other folk don't see it as important as we do.
Thank you, Mr. Posey. Very much appreciate it. Thanks, Isabel. Srinivasa, I see your hand.
Yes, I just wanted to echo a little bit about what Mr. Posey just said. I have the newsletter pulled up. I have been receiving them. I do read them. I noticed with this last one, the headline is construction progresses on stormwater facilities to improve Willamette River water quality, also in this newsletter. And then it goes on to have 3 bullet points. It's very technical. And as a person that's interested in connecting with the projects, you know, I'm going to read it, I'm going to look at it. But I think for community members that may not remember the why or the who, I think that there is a little bit more, since it is a newsletter, that can be added in here to make it a little bit more reader friendly. So I think, you know, reminding people what the values are of the project. Like if we want to close this gap, if we want people to support this project, getting the interim director in these meetings, making sure people understand the importance of it, I think we should use these different communication tools to just go back to the why, how did we get here, why are we here, and just not assume that everyone who's getting the newsletter already knows those facts. So maybe adding a footer or a header in of learn more about this, or go visit the Rose Quarter Project to watch the video, embed the video. But I would just add some more creative elements, and remember the audience are various different stakeholders that may be very close to the project or farther away. So we need to just constantly be reminding them about why we're doing it, what is the value to community, value to Portland, value to the state. Thank you.
Indeed, that's very important. Yeah, this is critical corridor in connection to even the I-5 bridge replacement as well. So we need to be telling those stories. Yeah. That's some great feedback that we can take back with comms. Oh, indeed. Wonderful.
I don't know if that the videos keep up.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, we're right in stride then. Thanks, Isabel. At this time, then I'm going to invite Monica and Angela if they would come and share with us about the workforce. Another chair here. You want to stay over there?
So.
Good morning, COAC and HAAB members. I'm sorry, it's evening. I am still in the morning. My name is Monica Johnson. I am part of the project team focusing on workforce participation, and my colleague here, Angela Murphy. So we have some updates for you. Next slide, please. An important part of the Rose Quarter project is workforce participation. The JV committed to hiring from the community, which aligns with the guiding principles developed in conjunction with the COAC. We, as a project team, are monitoring workforce participation to ensure goals are met. The goals for hiring minorities, women, and veterans, as you can see, it is 15%, and that's throughout the duration of the project. And the apprenticeship participation goal is 12%. The slides you're now seeing list the trades that are currently on the project. So there's quite a few out there right now for phase 1A. I will now turn it over to Angela Murphy to present on the JV's workforce efforts.
Perfect. So we are, just to kind of set the stage, so far in the first 5 months of the project, this work reflects really the early mobilization. There have been fairly limited scopes and smaller crews, so it doesn't reflect what full construction is really going to look like. But a lot of work has gone into making sure that we're reaching out to subcontractors, ensuring that this participation right now to date just reflects, again, this early work and not peak workforce conditions. But we have been working with a lot of subs to make sure that they have their participation tracking. We have a number of new technical pieces that we've had to get everybody up to speed on how to use and track. So that's really kind of been the work that's gone into the first kind of ramp up to work that's going on now. We have some draft numbers to date for workforce participation. So far, for the minority and women participation, we're at 52% of the workforce is either a minority or female participation. Our apprentice participation is just over 13%, and that reflects work for larger subcontracts on the project, those over $750,000. So of I believe 43 subcontractors that we now have under contract, 8 of those were triggered by that $750,000 dollar value. Looking at the project overall, at all of the participants, if we include everybody, that participation is drops down to 9%. But really, we're looking at those contract values that are over $750,000. We also have a TARO requirement, and TARO stands for Tribal Employment Rights Office or ordinance, and it's a requirement on this project. They've set a 4% goal, and currently looking at the numbers, we are just under that. We're at 3.23% in this early ramp up. And but I do want to shout out the TARO office. They've been an amazing partner. They have signed up 35 subcontracts, usually turning around those compliance documents within 24 hours. They've been extremely responsive in sending out worker referrals to different subcontractors and making sure that they're helping us get folks out to work on the project. We also have a workforce advocate, Von Ray Johnson. He's in the back of the room. He is working to make sure that we're working in the community, that we're hiring from the community. So while we have a lot of these different goals where we're working to fill open positions, he's working with a lot of our community partners to make sure that we are filling any open spaces. With that, the work has been kind of limited durations, smaller scopes. So we're trying to be really thoughtful in the way that we're placing people. So we're not just trying to hit a target, but we're looking at also long-term retention. And that's been a goal since the beginning of the project started. And we do have a number of people who are hired from the community. They're not necessarily in the crafts, which are what are reflected in the percentages that we're talking about, but we do have community hires that were brought on that have stayed in the construction space. So one example was a young engineer who was in school. He was hired on with Raymore. He switched over to Sunt and is now one of the field engineers on the project. So that's just growth through the project. And we've been able to maintain that relationship through all the bumps of this early project startup. And that's only one example. But I do also want to mention that Von Ray has done a lot of work to build a bench that we can pull from the community and get folks up and going on the project. Next slide. So talking a little bit more about COVID and subcontractor participation, we do have 43 subcontracts in and approved, 35 that require certified payroll, and certified payroll reflects those that have to report their craft hours. And those are the percentages that I mentioned at the beginning. The ones on the left-hand side of the screen, not shaded, those are our certified payroll firms. The one in the orange box, those are kind of specialty scopes where we're not tracking workforce. Again, like I mentioned, we are working for intentional hiring and participation, really focusing on that retention piece. And there are a couple other snags that we're working through. A lot of the unions have closed lists right now. So while we're working within the community, working with different pre-apprenticeship groups, we have run into a snag where some of the unions have closed lists right now, so they're not accepting new participants. They're just looking for placements for people already in their program. And so we're working to see how we can get people placed either at open shop contractors or in maybe not in. Now switching over to mentorship and capacity building, I did want to mention some of the subs that are working specifically with Raymore Construction. They're doing a lot of the seismic retrofit work on the project. And we do have 3 videos that we wanted to share talking about TikTok. I don't know if you're going to see them on TikTok, but maybe we'll have to check with ODOT on that. But I did want to mention that Raymore and the entire JV is working really hard to ensure that we're mentoring our subcontractors, and they're putting in a ton of work to kind of help build their capacity and make sure that they're ready to take on projects that are of larger scope and scale. The first will be crossover construction. That's led by Dominic Waters. Their firm, they're completing the concrete shear lugs in the seismic retrofit work. The second video will be fusion welding, and that's Abdias, and I'm probably going to butcher his last name. I apologize, but it's Calixte, I believe. And they are doing the diaphragm installation. And the last is Passcode Welding and Design. Mr. Carlton Benefield is here this evening with us, and they're doing the restrainers. So if we could play the videos.
4 generations here in Portland. I was gifted the opportunity to play basketball. My background in sports crossed over team building, leadership. The business is something I prayed for, and so it's been another gift from the Father. The power that Raymore is trying to give us is knowing that we belong, we're adequate, we can do the work. Just learn the work, make sure you understand the work. Your work will speak for itself. Jeff Moreland, Sr., the example he sets, it exudes throughout the business. They don't make you feel inferior, they don't make you feel small. And his team, working directly with me and my team every single step of the way. I want to be partner to them to change the landscape of minority representation in construction. The I-5 displaced all these people, and a few of those were actually family members of ours. To be revitalizing the infrastructure in that space means a lot to me. To make sure everybody's safe on that bridge, that's important work, and I'm proud to be a part of that work.
I was born to be a construction worker. It was always my passion.
What I've seen from him that is very motivating is the consistency. He stood up and he built what he said he was going to build. We're doing seismic upgrades on the bridges on the I-5 corridor.
The economy has been down, so this project with Raymore, it's hope. It's life-giving. This is my best chance to be mentored, how to look for loans, how to bid properly. The Raymore team has been doing all that and beyond. This project, I call it an equity builder. The main barrier is access to capital. Without the way Raymore sees it, someone in my position would not ever get the chance to be on that project.
For over 30 years. Going across the Brooklyn Bridge when I was like 6 years old, I seen these sparks off to the side. And I was like, Dad, what are those fireworks? And he was like, that's the guy welding. I was like, well, that's what I want to do. I want to be a welder. So I met Jeff about a year ago. Jeff was talking about the bridge project. And I've loved bridges ever since I went across that bridge at 6 years old. HAAB, it's a great opportunity for me and for us in the community. Raymore, not just coming from a business standpoint. Jeff Moreland, he's under the headship of the supreme being of the universe, you know, spiritual, really sincere in helping people, saying, I'm gonna give you a shot, let's do it. I see employment by the community, for the community. I see growth in the community. This is home. Portland is home. I love helping my community. Training them in welding. Boom, take the test. Now you're making $35 an hour, right? So they're doing the same for me, bringing it back full circle.
Those are great.
I would say, perspective, I would say that those are pretty powerful testimonials. This is one project amongst many projects we have in pipeline. So we have the Interstate Bridge Replacement Project, where a lot of the work that they're performing now in Rose Quarter will apply to that project.
That's right.
There's a statewide seismic retrofit program. We're trying to harden the system for when the big one comes. Lots of seismic projects out there. So what they learn on this project and build that pipeline of workers can be applied across the state over and over again. And so this is just the beginning.
That's awesome. Thank you, David. Those are very, very powerful. Thank you for sharing that. Let's get Mr. Posey's request and get him on TikTok. I see a hand from Srinivasa online.
The videos were excellent. That's all I wanted to say. Those videos are so awesome. Those should absolutely be in that newsletter and on the websites and getting out to community members. And I don't know who produced the videos, but kudos to whoever was the team behind helping them tell their stories. But I said it's something about seeing Black men in the work suits on this project, doing the work, welding, building. I just love it. So thank you for sharing those videos with us, and let's definitely get them out into the community.
Excellent. I have a comment in the room, and then I also see Leslie's hand.
Well, one of the things you asked was what was the difference, right? And I'll just be honest, the first PMG meeting I went to, I said, Lord Jesus, this is never going to work. All these people fighting, all these people not agreeing, everybody having their individual. But in the second meeting, Jeff said something that really struck me. He said, I need to keep my guys working. You guys are bickering, you're fighting, but I got to keep my guys working. And the room just changed. Jeff stepped in and he really helped us focus on why we're doing this work. We need specifically to help Black people stay on this job, which means we, as this group, have to be unified in how we're approaching it. So I want to say part of it, the reason why we saw the shift, if Jeff spoke up and said, I'm working really hard to keep my guys on this job. And anybody that does construction knows that's really tough, and especially in this economy. So that was one of the big game changers, and it's what brought everybody to the table, Joe.
Thank you. Yep, we're going to turn it back on. Let me go to Leslie online, and then we'll get the comment in the room.
I just wanted to echo what Srinivasa said. That was beautiful. I'm sitting here, I was tearing up watching it. So we definitely need to be sharing those types of stories about what a difference we're making in people's lives and how people are working on this project. So it's not just those folks are sitting in a room and nothing is happening. That's what we need to be showing. So thank you to whoever did it. And those were fantastic. And thank you to Jeff.
Indeed. Thank you. Mr. Posey.
Okay, good. So I'm like everybody else, I'm excited about the videos, but I just, what concerns me is that we have to tell the truth. And that is Jeff, Raymore, and Jess Bucket, they're working uphill. They're working against the history of people not being in the pipeline. They're working against the history of turnover, recidivism. And I don't know if anybody's not been in this room has not been in business, you wouldn't understand what I'm talking about. For a long time, you all know I know Jeff. He used to work for me once upon a time. But the truth of the matter is, if you have not been in business, you don't have a clue about what Jeff is going through, what the challenges are, what the expectations are, what the spotlight is. He's been working in a system where everybody's been lying about the numbers, to inflating the patent, the relationships, and there's a tendency for everybody to want to do that, to not tell the truth about what's really going on. For example, you look in there and you see you all with the heavy equipment operators. I bet you can't find one crane operator in this town that looks like me, that and y'all going to be moving equipment. So I know behind the scenes what it's going to take to really achieve those goals and make a difference. The reason why this is important is that I was looking at some old newspaper clippings 10 years back. Half of all the Black kids in Oregon live in poverty. Repeat that again. Half of all the Black kids in Oregon live below the poverty line. Half. So what's that say for our community? So the challenge is trying to use this particular project as a way of bringing together all of the resources to maximize what we know we need to do. You all got Vaughn out there doing some stuff. That's an unenviable job. We got issues with the criminal justice system, all kinds of booby traps out here that would throw this project under the bus. So I don't want anybody to get any illusions about where we're going, what we need to do, but we need to know what the goal is. We need to know, to me, 12, 15% is low. It's low because, it's realistic, but it's low given the history that we've had in this state and the pathway forward. You just mentioned where did Keith go? The unions working against you. I'm gonna say that again. The unions working against you. Keith probably won't like me saying that, but these unions ain't never been our friends in the community. And all you have to do is look at the numbers. Don't take my word for it. Look at the numbers. So what I'm saying to you all is that we need to see what we need to do. And when my friend here talked about this being the beginning, there are virtually no Black people working on any of these major projects in the state of Oregon. Virtually none. It's worse than that. There's very few subcontractors outside of what you see Raymore and them trying to hook up. So these people you see in the video are newbies. They're newbies. Lord knows, I hope they make it 10 years, but the failure rate for businesses is outrageous. So unless we got somebody like a Jeff Moreland, his name is Jeff, not Jesus, by the way. So if you all look at this thing, you'll see we have a real challenge in front of us. Nobody should be fooled.
I love those videos. Jeff has been working on those videos for the last 4 years, different ones. But when you're resourced, you can do things like that. And when I see the list of, for the last 9 years, we've been working on this project. Even my company is a media company, been trying to get a contract with ODOT for media for the last 7 years. And every time we get close, the staff changes, something goes different. But what I'm experiencing is there's a different vibe in this room from the last time we left here. And I don't know what happened, but the last meeting we had, everybody was just about holding on. But then all of a sudden, something is different. And I don't quite know what that is. Maybe it's because the city is getting more actively involved. Maybe it's different agencies coming on deck, but something's different. And one of the concerns then, even when Strickler was leaving, we felt like the project had been hijacked somehow. It's being hijacked. But I don't know, that's just an experience that I'm having. It just feels different. But I think for us, it's real important for us to be able to tell the story, from our own perspective. And so there's a lot of media opportunities out there for you guys to be able to look at this thing and let us tell the story the way we see it instead of y'all telling the story for us. Okay. And I think this whole other part that really is starting to excite me on one level, but at the same time, it keeps me in this cautious position is that there's so many little details that the HAAB miss. You know, every time we show up at a meeting, there's something different that is taking place, but we don't have any insight about how those things had taken place, why they've taken place, whatever the case. So I would appreciate a little bit more communication from you guys about what you're doing if you're going to start siloing, okay? Because one of the biggest issues that we have as a community is trust for one another. And if you keep, and the city has historically been able to keep us divided by dividing us, keeping us from understanding what each other is doing. So for me, I would appreciate the things, the changes or whatever is going on. And as far as this media situation is concerned, look at that is a very contentious area. Okay. But we would like to see the construction industry unpack itself in such a way that it reaches a lot more smaller businesses. So I don't know if you do an inventory to be able to see what the simultaneous businesses are that run along with construction, but how as far out as we can unpack it, we should unpack it. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Washington.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I was impressed with the workforce performance measures, and I was wondering if there was a place where we could kind of follow throughout the project the participation levels.
Yes, I believe so. Angela, did you want to speak to that?
I have to defer to Carolyn
Oh, okay.
on how we're recording all of that.
Good deal. Thank you. Thanks, Carolyn.
Yeah.
So my name's Carolyn Henniges. I'm the resident construction engineer for ODOT. We will be reporting to this group at every meeting. We'll give you guys the latest update on how we're doing on workforce and subcontracting COVID firms. But we did have a kind of a question for you. We have to do these reports monthly in the construction. It's required by the construction contract with the contractor. But we'd be curious if you want monthly updates in between, or you just, if you're meeting quarterly or whatever your cadence is, what you would like to have from us. So I do have that question for you. So it's really up to this committee on whether you want information monthly, maybe through email or something, or if you would like it just reported here when we get together. So
I saw one monthly, Mr. Posey.
So, yeah, I would like to see them as regular as possible. You know, at the end of the day, we got to keep our eye on this project here. Let me just say the other piece. You all have to disaggregate those numbers. As far as I'm concerned, I hate to say it like this, white women don't count. When you put those, wait a minute, when you put those numbers in there about white women, this has been the rouge all along. They dilute the efforts and focus on where we're trying to go. White women are doing okay. It's the Black men, Black families that we're trying to focus on, y'all. So y'all can, all the other numbers, y'all go ahead and go over to Abernathy, because you're going to find a whole bunch of white women over there. You're going to find white people over there. You're not going to find us over there on the Abernathy. Look at what they're doing over there and compare what we're doing over here. The ideal situation is that we could work anywhere in the state, but it's not like that. Just aggregate those numbers and get them as regularly as you possibly can so we can see where the problems are. And more importantly, where we need to focus our energy in changing direction. These codes, these SIP codes that we have in there are very precise about who's working where and when. You can put numbers and time. You can do a whole lot of things. We got AI now, y'all. Come on. Thank you.
So Carolyn, we should be able to disaggregate the data, right? Okay, we'll do that.
Yep. And so I'm hearing monthly.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm hearing monthly and disaggregated. We can do both of those things for you. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Carolyn. Any thoughts or comments from participants online before we move forward? Monica, Angela, thank you all so much. Carolyn, at this time, I'll invite our colleagues from the city, Brian, to come and share about the Reconnecting Albina planning project.
Good evening, community members. My name is Brian Price. I'm a senior planner with the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability. I was here last meeting and provided an update on the Reconnecting Albina planning project. We have some more exciting updates for today. Just to clarify, yeah, this is the $800,000 planning grant that JT referred to earlier. Our scope is certainly includes planning efforts related to the cover, but also focuses on the broader Lower Albina district. Appreciate Erica adding this map in to the presentation. Just wanted to briefly orient everyone. So the boundaries we're looking at include 3 sub areas. The central sub area is the highway cover. To the east, we're focusing a lot on Broadway Weidler east of the highway. And then probably the largest focus area with the most going on is the west side. So we're looking around the Moda Center, the riverfront, the Matthew Prophet site north of Broadway. Generally speaking, for this project, we're looking at areas such as especially restorative development, wealth building, inclusive economic development, vibrant regional entertainment venues, and multimodal regional and local transportation. I have a little bit more background in the next slide. Next slide, please. So the Reconnecting Albina Planning Project, or RAP, is a partnership between Albina Vision Trust, Bureau of Planning and Sustainability, PBOT, Bureau of Transportation, and Prosper Portland, creating a district-wide development framework plan for Lower Albina, essentially centered on restorative development for Portland's historic Albina communities. So we're building off of previous planning efforts, such as the Community Investment Plan, and we're developing a development framework that'll include 3 main components: a land use, urban design and public realm, and transportation development plans, as well as future financing and governance strategy for these elements. Next slide, please. We had a community engagement workshop on December the 3rd. This took place at Harriet Tubman Middle School. We had approximately 100 folks show up. We covered topics like the future development framework for Lower Albina, public realm, history and identity, and transportation. We focused on all 3 of those sub areas that I mentioned: east, central, and west. Next, please. We received wonderful feedback from participants, and the themes are very similar. If you'll recall, we had a workshop with the HAAB a little less than a year ago, focused on the highway cover and how we wanted the look and feel of the public realm. When we engaged the community just on the broader opportunities in this district, we heard topics such as movement, access, and connectivity. So it's one thing to talk about new places, better places, more public spaces. It's another to talk about actually accessing these spots. People, community, belonging, flexible lived-in places, looking at things like intergenerational opportunities, places for people to spend time. Nature as everyday infrastructure, so not just landscaping to look pretty, but landscaping in a way that's ecologically restorative. Culture, identity, and placemaking. We heard very clearly that history and identity is not, cultural identity, racial identity is not just in the past, it's in the present. So how do we create living present opportunities for identity in the places we spend time in? Next, please. There is a summary report that we developed if you want a bit more detail on what we heard from the community and how we are summarizing it and how we're using it to organize our ongoing planning work. The link to that will be sent out to this committee shortly. We're still getting that uploaded. So this is just a screenshot showing some of the qualitative analysis that we did to summarize the feedback. Those 5 buckets I just read are those headers. Below them are a lot of the subtopics that we gathered collapsed into them. So you can get a sense of how we generated this framework based off the specific comments we got from community members. Next, please. is activating the, okay. If you'll recall, we had a workshop with this group. It was last April, where we spent a whole meeting looking at the highway cover and what kind of experience do we want on the cover once it's built. We did open up the opportunity for public feedback as well around this topic. And generally speaking, what we heard from participants was very much in line with what we heard from this committee. So big focus on walking, biking, transit, public gathering spaces, culture, trees, shade, views, making sure the spaces are accessible, that there is cultural relevance to monuments and art, and that there are activities for folks to gather and spend time together. Next, please. So one of the main reasons for coming back here, as well as giving you an update on the December workshop, is to let you know that the next major community engagement opportunity will take place in April of this year. We're still determining the exact date and location, but we'll get that information as soon as that's available. This workshop is going to be an opportunity to report back to the community what we've heard, how we've used it, and then continue to drill deeper into the experience we want to produce in these areas. So we'll be looking more at the street level. How do we want buildings to relate to the public realm? What kinds of public spaces do we want? How do we ensure the area feels safe and inviting to experience? So it'll still be a huge opportunity for feedback to shape the development of this plan. We will also be doing a series of expanded engagement activities throughout the year to be announced soon. And we're aiming to draft the final report and submit that in late summer, early fall. So April will be our next big opportunity, and we encourage all HAAB and COAC members to please join us for that event. That's what I got.
Any questions or thoughts for Brian or our colleagues at the city regarding reconnecting Albina?
It's like, who's helping y'all plan for the engagement? Okay, that's the question for you. What was the question? Who's helping?
Who is participating in helping to plan the engagement in April?
The engagement is coordinated primarily by Albina Vision Trust.
Y'all got the invites to every single thing, so yeah. Sorry, I'm pacing back and forth, keep this dude asleep. But yeah, y'all should all have received invitations to every single one of the engagements we've had so far. And we've seen some of y'all there, so thank you for taking the time to come and participate. But your input really matters. I mean, y'all see these sticky notes on these poster boards, like that gets translated into digital documentation that then the city is logging as like concretized input from what community wants to see. So when we don't show up in those spaces as community, when this group don't show up in that space and then steps into this space and says, hey, what's going on? That's a miss on our part as a community. So I think it's really, really important if y'all can make it to please continue to show up in those spaces. It means a whole lot to us, but I think it's also vital to making sure that everything that gets built out in this district is built out in a way that's fully aligned with the needs, interests, desires, and wants of our community.
Thanks, JT. Any other thoughts from attendees online or in the room regarding city engagement? Seeing none. Well, thank you, Brian.
Right.
Appreciate you.
Erica.
Oh, yes, Leslie, I'm so sorry.
I did put a note in the chat, but just to JT's point, I've not received anything, so I'm not sure what email is being used for that information. So I wanted to make sure that it's getting to the right email address and not going spam somewhere. Thanks.
Thanks, Leslie.
And Leslie, I'm not the one who personally oversees it on our end, but I'll make sure that we got the right email for you. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, sir. And how's that baby?
Poppy duty, he's sleeping. All right. Next slide. Well, we are nearing the end. I want to thank all of our colleagues who have joined in and the collaborative work that the PMG is doing, Metro, the city, agencies, as well as OTA, RIP City. I understand cautious optimism. Mr. Posey, thank you for all of your comments and keeping us aligned to the reality. I'd love to just turn it back to Monica if you have some updates in regards to the upcoming committee meetings.
Yeah, so overall on next steps, we will be doing quarterly joint HAAB COAC meetings continuing out through the year, and then have additional meetings as needed as things come up. So you will see on your calendar already, we've scheduled a meeting on March 18th, right after the OTC meeting. So we have an opportunity to get together and talk about the outcomes of the OTC meeting and not wait till our quarterly meeting. So that's our intention, is to have regular quarterly joint meetings and then additional as needed as things come up.
And just please continue to avail yourself. I'm available to touch base. I've had an opportunity to spend some time with many of you leading into this. And so we'll continue to have those interim touch points between HAAB meetings. And David, did you have any closing thoughts before we end the meeting?
I know that a lot of people here, the committee members, as well as the public, are taking valuable time away from family, but really appreciate your commitment, your feedback, your input, and the accountability. You're holding a public agency, ODOT, accountable. I know this project has encountered numerous challenges. I know there's still headwinds ahead of us, but I think being cohesive and having the partnership with the city, Metro, AVT, RIP City, Oregon Trucking, and having the partnership with the community is going to be absolutely critical to the success of this project. And there's tremendous momentum, and we're going to continue to build off that momentum. So thanks again for your time this evening.
We ended. I saw Mr. Posey's hand.
Sure. I just, in our last meeting, we talked about the structure of I think the HAAB and the CAB. And I think the thought is that even though you were staff, and I think Dr. Holt's staff, we needed some more precise leadership from the HAAB members, the ones who are volunteered. For example, you know, when the OTC granted those dollars to us, I don't think nobody ever acknowledged that. That was a remarkable set of circumstances. And I'm thinking, I think I could be wrong. There was Felicia and Joe and somebody else who would like to be identified. We would like to identify them as some sort of leadership within the members of this body to be able to express what we're thinking, not with staff, not what contracted people are saying, but what the folk who are coming here and sitting as volunteers. We want to be able to have a voice directly to whatever powers to be that impact this process. So I'm not asking for a motion tonight, but that's already talked about that. So that went into the atmosphere somewhere, but I think you all remember those conversations. So we'd like to see what you all come up with, what that looks like.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bryson?
Yeah, I want to echo that sentiment, because one of the things that I've seen really kind of over the past few months is how important and how big of a difference communication can make. I think about how people's perception on the work that had been done on phase 1B changed once they saw the details and the other considerations that went into phase 1B. I've seen how people's attitude in this room has changed once we see some of the details that have gone on and once we get brought up to speed. And thinking about what Mr. Posey was just talking about, having somebody in that position who can then also report back and make sure that the members of each group get that communication and being that point person so that people feel like the information's actually flowing, I think will be really helpful.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, I want to tell all of you all, thank you for your time and commitment. Appreciate the opportunity to engage with you all around this really important topic. Thank you to those who have joined us online, in the room, and to all of our partners from the HSJV. We're appreciative of the work that you're doing. Continue to keep us abreast. Carolyn, thank you for your input tonight. And with that, we will adjourn our HAAB and COAC meeting for tonight.
Thanks.
Stay
Take care,
healthy.
everybody.
Indeed. Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Please feel better, everyone.
All right.